So I would not have the trust in my VA that I do without Sphere Rocket backing them up, because my executive assistant has access to a lot of stuff, and that trust is a very big thing for me. And so y'all taught me how to put the things in place for passwords and password protects and keeping an eye out and screenshot monitor, and all those things just make me feel a lot better. Now we built trust after 18 months, but that's one of my biggest things. So the funny thing is, I was getting into some real estate on the side, and that's how I got introduced to Sphere Rocket. Was I was hiring a VA to help with the side business that I was doing. Well, I never went into that at the time. And so once I hired Angie, like, I just couldn't let her go. And then she just, kept taking on different things. And so she helps with everything. The benefit is the support. Like, there's support for anything that we need. You can't throw anything at them that they don't come back with some type of help for. So there's always support for me. There's support for my virtual assistants. Come into these events, you come here and you learn so much, and then you take stuff back with you, and there's people there to help the whole way. My favorite thing is it gives me time to work on the more profitable parts of my business. They handle all the background stuff, all the Google Drives, organizing my emails, making phone calls, answering calls, and that takes that off of my plate. I don't have to worry about posting. All I have to do is take pictures and videos and send it to them, and they handle it. So I can focus on the things I need to focus on and the things I like to focus on. So easy. So I did a lot of it myself, and then a lot of it you just put to the side, because I don't have to have that to function my business, but it makes my business better and it makes my numbers better and all that. So being able to get to that instead of just putting it off was, helped me out a lot in my business.
All right, so I'm Tim Whittemore. I'm from Northwest Florida in the Destin area, and primarily real estate and other things. So I've been with Sphere Rocket since, I believe, its inception, which was in 2020, around with COVID, and it's really evolved, and it's been cool to be part of the process. So currently I have 6 VAs. I run a real estate company that's fully operated by VAs. So I don't go out of the office. Everything is either automated or done through VAs. So I have a TC, a CSM that's all, and listing manager that's all in one position. I don't know what to call them, but we have 2 ISAs or setters, if you want to call them that, then 2 marketing people, and 1 person that runs my entire program, my integrator and ops manager. My favorite part about it is that I really get to grow additional people out there across the world and get to see their entire life just explode because of the opportunity that income and that freedom provides. It's been really good to understand a little bit more about that. It helps me grow as an employer, and it allows me to leverage my business so much faster with such a lower overhead, and make me think differently of how to operate not just real estate business, but coaching other businesses as well. So we started the ISA program probably 2.5 years ago. These 2, one's been with me for about a year, and the other one just started up because we had a difference in culture and how we were doing that, and we needed specific people in order to operate the programs that we did have. So once we figured out how we were going to do it, then we had to get the right people in order to implement them. The biggest thing is KPIs and keeping them accountable for that. So what we've done is we followed the old Keller Williams MAPS program. So what is your dials to contacts, what's your contact to set, and then also keeping myself accountable of, hey, what are those held to actually signed, and keeping all those metrics up. And then that's easy to identify the problems and attack specifically versus just throwing whatever mud at the wall and seeing what sticks. Most people are worried, especially if they're going to be speaking with their accent, right? Because I was somebody that traveled the world a lot before I got into this. And I was like, well, some other people are going to have an issue with this. That's what I thought, at least. Some of those VAs speak better English than I do, especially the ones on my team. They also had security was going to be a big issue. And I'm not going to lie, like, there has definitely been some things, but it was a fault on me as a leader and as an employer of not monitoring and correcting issues. So we did have to let some people go, but inevitably it was my fault, but I did learn and grow through those things. The Sphere Rocket's been almost like a second family to a certain point, especially for somebody like me that was with them since pretty much at the beginning. To watch the entire program evolve the way that it has, or having an availability to pretty much all the staff, and really developing friendships and networking through the actual Mastermind events has been the most game-changing thing that I've experienced. I'm just saying, if you want to be around, you're going to see that pigeon pop.
I'm Tiffany Klusicek. I'm from Tennessee, and I run a real estate team, Tennessee's Elite, with Berkshire Hathaway. We are starting with an executive assistant. Probably am going to end up with like 3 or 4 before we end up out of the mess that we're currently in. Email management for sure, and just a lot of high-level tasks that are way below myself and my in-person employees' pay grade. Heck no, I never wanted to hire a virtual assistant, and it finally just clicked. My real estate coach set me up, I'm 100% positive, set me up to be in front of Justin Berry. Control freak, I'm a control freak. That I feel no one can do it better than me, but I cannot do it all. Being here was really my way of making sure that I did not continue to be the problem in my business. This is just my way of making sure that everything that I could do to control the outcome, I was gonna put my best foot forward. I've been reassured that if it's not, then we're gonna just continue to interview. Just need to get over and get into this world that really, I'm the problem. I'm the problem.
It's been almost 3 months. Currently have one VA, and at the moment, he does a lot of things, technical. He helps us with social media. I'm hoping very soon we'll be able to add a couple more and split some of those responsibilities off. He bought back my time. That's why I think I need more, because I want some of my time back, even more of my time back. But that's my favorite thing about the whole Sphere Rocket experience is that you literally can buy back your time, and it's not just necessarily you're saving money, but you're also, saving payroll, but you're also, it's an investment, and the payoff is excellent. I was worried about language. I was worried about the ability to speak English, that was probably my biggest concern. And I was amazed when I went through the process of hiring. I had 6 candidates to choose from in a couple of hours. We had interviews, and all of them were excellent. And I had, I narrowed it down to like 2 or 3, and we picked the best one. And every one of them spoke very good English. That concern was set to rest from the get-go. The favorite benefits? Well, I'm just now discovering, kind of a little bit late to the game, that you guys have this amazing resource library of all these SOPs and all these training tools, and I will definitely be accessing that more and more. I know I will, because that's the thing that kind of slows you down. You've got it in one place. That's amazing. What great support. Holidays that they have, a lot of holidays. It's a little cultural difference. Many of them speak many languages, not just English or Tagalog. Like my BA, I think, speaks 5 different languages, There are some myths about it from getting to know him. We call it a third world country, but it's really not. They've got most everything we have. It's just the economy is not as great, which I guess we're kind of taking advantage of. But you got to get used to certain things like transfer of money and currency exchange and all that fun stuff. But thank goodness there's a lot of apps that Sphere Rocket suggests to help you take care of all that too.
My name is Rick Jansen in Denver, Colorado. I am an AI consultant. I teach people how to leverage AI for productivity. I have been a client with Sphere Rocket for years and have only just a week and a half ago hired my first VA. I was hopeful and optimistic that someday it would rub off on me. Well, I finally just realized I was overwhelmed. I was trying to run 6 businesses by myself, and I just can't do all things, and so many things were dropping through the cracks. I had to finally hire someone and delegate. So I had ChatGPT kind of break up my businesses, and I said, okay, what do I do? How do I do it? Where could a VA be most useful? And then I started running, so like, what are some SOPs for that? What would a day look like? What would a week look like? What are goals for the first month? And when I started realizing a VA could really help me out in a lot of different ways, that's when I decided to hire. My biggest struggle at hiring a VA is me. Honestly, like getting in the daily huddle and making sure I'm prepared for that daily huddle so Karen has something to do and is productive, so I'm not frustrated with her and she's not frustrated with me. It really comes down to, are you ready to give that information to her so that she's successful? Limiting belief was like, I just couldn't do it. Like it was gonna be a total waste of money, and not that she was gonna fail, but that I was gonna fail. And so that when I realized that I could actually do this, that's when I decided to hire. The greatest benefit of Sphere Rocket, I think, is just all the fact that they have so much experience in this domain authority, right? And so they know what to hire for, they know what to look for, they know the SOPs, they know best practices. So if you're a realtor, if you're a coach, if you're in insurance, whatever it is, they probably have 1,000 other or 100 other clients that have done what you do, and our businesses are not unique. So the fact that they actually know your business probably better than you do, that is a huge leg up.
Hey, my name is Reed Schwartz. I'm a real estate broker with EXP. Live up on Whidbey Island, Washington, and I joined Sphere Rocket a little over about 15 months ago. She does social media management for me, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. She actually put together a plan of attack for the first month, and we ran with that. My Instagram reach was up 3,000% after the first 30 days. Wow. My goal for her for the first 30 days was get us one post every day. And we way blew that out of the water. Thought I had to do everything myself. I can do it better. She is better than I am, and she is faster than I am, and she's more creative than I am. At a fraction of, I've gained back hours and hours of my time. If I was doing everything she's doing, I wouldn't do anything else. Preparing the SOPs, converting what I do over to here you do it. I would say this Mastermind conference has been amazing. The content, the information, the knowledge gained, coming with a lot of information. The people we've met have just been fantastic. Actually, probably about the white label. That was probably it. It pushed me over the edge.
Ray Fernandez with my company is living in Palm Beach, Florida, powered by eXp Realty. Run a real estate company where a lot of our business is helping people relocate to the beautiful part of what we call sunny South Florida. This is something I present on my YouTube channel, Living in Palm Beach, Florida, every single week. You know, two answers to that. I went all in about a year ago, but I really have had a relationship with you guys probably about 3 years now. My first VA was about 3 years ago, but I realized at one point I needed to up my game, and that's where I am now. And it was a great decision because in order to be successful, I feel in this business, you need to leverage and, as the book says, buy back your time. My very first VA, today, you know, it's one of the things about VAs, you have to find out what they're strong at and get them focused on that task. That VA today is my database management. He's very technical. And so I can only do so much with that. I hired my second VA, full-time VA, as an executive assistant. I needed that. When I was spending as much time as I was managing my emails, it got ridiculous. It was such a blessing to be able to hire her. But going way back even before that, my very first VA, which I still use as sort of a freelance, he's a video editor, because I do YouTube, and I at first was doing it myself, which was absolutely ridiculous because he is so much better at it than me, and it saves a ton of my time. I found myself wasting half a day editing videos when now I just leave it to him, and I'm happy to pay him because it's worth its weight in gold. Before Spear Rocket, it was a freelance guy on another service, more like a freelance guy, but I would never go that route again, Moose, because it took so much time. And I ended up editing, interviewing, and I wasted so much time trying to get the right person. The truth is, I've went through a few of those editors before I have the right one. The right one has been with me now probably a little bit over 3-4 years, maybe. But I went through about probably 4 or 5 prior to him. They helped me get in front of the right people. It helps me to be on task, getting in front of the right people, doing the right things that makes my business a revenue producing business, as opposed to being mundane in some menial, not menial, but tasks that are of lower value, which is not really worth my time. My value is a lot higher than what they can produce for me. In fact, they're better at it as well. I don't know if I had limited beliefs, but I certainly did not understand the power of it. And you know, it's a little bit overwhelming, I guess, that when you don't know the fear of the unknown, you don't really know. And when you're not making as much money, and now you have another cost basis that you have to bring on. But the funny thing is, once you take it on and once you go in and go into it, you're like, wow, why did I not do this before? And that's happened with every single hire I've had. Going way back to my video editor, my first full-time VA, my second, every single time I say to myself, what was I thinking not doing this sooner? You know, being disciplined on managing them. Like we talked about in this conference today about having a daily huddle, and I was guilty of not doing that at first. And the truth is, once I made that a regular practice, productivity skyrocketed. It really is a big thing. And something else we mentioned, although it's a minor point in the conference, you talked about Screenshot Monitor. At first, I wasn't using it. I want to trust them and all this. The funny thing is, when I implemented it, it was after the first VA. All of a sudden, the other VAs are like, their productivity went way up, knowing that they're being watched. In the background, I get, yes. But it's things like that. I mean, managing them, figuring out the best way to make them as productive as possible. Well, networking with like-minded business owners. You know, I'm in rooms with people that I would not be with otherwise. These people are extremely successful, and I just want to listen to things that they're doing. I get new ideas, like at this conference today. I've gotten so many good ideas. I have my notebook. I will go back to the office later this week, and I will make highlights of the most important, and I'm gonna hope to implement many of them. And that's one of the benefits about being at a conference like this. These are successful people. They invested in themselves to be here, and I hope to gain some knowledge by being here myself.
I've been a client now for about 6 months. We started with an executive assistant, and because we loved her so much, and she's been such a hard worker, we ended up having her help us interview the other two, and that's why the second and third one, the process became so much easier because we had the support of someone that was already a virtual assistant and from Sphere Rocket and from the Philippines. I think the one thing that stands out for me, especially with Rena, who's our executive assistant, is I always look forward to her morning. Hey doc, good morning, happy Friday, you know, are you ready? Do you have your coffee? So she just kind of sets my day up for a really good day. So as a naturopathic doctor owning a medical clinic, I just didn't think it was possible to have the support remotely. I thought it had to be done all in person. And then my experience is now, you realize that there's a lot of things that can be done virtually, and then it just maximizes my time, leverages my time so I can do what I do best, which is see people and help patients. There's so many, but I think the one is essentially just making sure that patients that want to come in, or prospective patients that want to come in, get the care and attention that they need to get on the schedule. Community is really important. I feel like, you know, with the weekly calls and the support, you're able to really get guided to the best person to ask the questions that you need answers to. The hardest part, I think I just have a soft spot in my heart. So I think it's the interviewing process that is the most difficult for me, because I feel like I want to hire a lot of them. And I know that there's only one spot to fill. I think for my first executive assistant, Rena, I think it was just instinct. But then having her to be able to help guide the process, the interview process for our other virtual assistants, just made it much easier.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lasantha Naidu. I have been a client with Sphere Rocket for a little over a month. I have one VA, an executive assistant. Two things, he keeps me accountable, and the second is he's offloaded stuff that I don't like doing. He reminds me of the things that I'm supposed to be giving him to do, and tells me why he is unable to do the tasks I'm asking him to do. Right now he's managing my inbox. He's cleaned up my inbox, managing it, sending outbound emails, and alerting me of what inbound emails I have to. It's not so much hours a week, because I wasn't doing it before. It's more how many clients am I not missing because of it. So I've definitely engaged with more patients, new patients, because of my EA. I did because I had an experience before with a VA that I felt like I was doing more work because of the training, because of having to undo what was being done. And now I've learned that was more probably my own deficiency, not so much the VA's deficiency. The hardest part for me is staying accountable, actually, is doing what I need to do on the timeline that I am setting for my virtual assistant. The hardest part is for me to stay on that timeline. I think the financial value has been significantly more than what I had anticipated in terms of the resources for the VAs, for my business. A lot of people say that my business vision and goals are unrealistic, but with the support from Sphere Rocket, I feel like it is totally realistic, and I will achieve it.
My name is John Klasaris. I'm a white label partner with Sphere Rocket, attending the intensive event in Dallas, Texas. Outstanding. You know, the biggest takeaway I have is not only meeting with the people in the hallways and so forth, but the nuggets that you get from each and every one of the sessions. Since August of last year, I met Justin at an EXP event years ago and was thoroughly impressed with his business model, but also his business acumen and the way he conducts business with people, with the amount of integrity. I have a network of consulting clients that I've worked with for over 2 decades. And because it reaches across really every line of business, they're all qualified candidates for virtual assistants. You know, it's the simplicity, and it's also the enthusiasm with which they work. You know, and I tell this to my clients all the time. I say, you know, when we work with our American-based teams, oftentimes it's a struggle to get, I hate to say motivation, but for lack of a better word, to get them into the groove of what we're trying to do. Sometimes Monday mornings, Tuesday mornings, it's a drag trying to get people up and running. Whereas the virtual assistants, we get on a morning call on Zoom, and the first thing they say is, "Good morning, Mr. John," with a big smile. So they're happy to be there, and they're happy to be doing the work. And that's really, in my mind, more valuable than anything else. The cost savings is great, the work ethic is great, but just that feeling that you've got people on board with you and on board with your vision and who want to be there. I have 2 virtual assistants. I have one that is my primary EA. The second one backs her up. I have them on a staggered schedule. So on the off hours for my primary, say the second VA will pinch hit, but they each have their own focus of tasks. So the EA is probably 2/3 of her time is spent as my EA. The other third is spent on my 2 businesses. The second VA handles entirely business matters for both the other businesses. You know, I really haven't pinned that down yet. I've got pages of notes that I'll be going through, but off the top of my head, probably the social media. And that's a surprise to me because I can't stand social media. But it gave me a little bit of direction for some of the strategies I need to bring to that platform, or those platforms, I should say. Just now, they said focus on one platform and get that productive. And I underlined it twice in my notes on the table here. So get focused, focus on one, get it up and running before you jump to any other platforms. And I think I resonated with me. Don't look at them as an end-all, cure-all and simply as cost savings. If you look at them as true partners and you spend the time cultivating them and training them, that's when they're going to blossom for you. And I have gone through a number of virtual assistants, so I've seen the good side and the bad side, but in hindsight, a lot of my early failures with virtual assistants were my own failures because I didn't understand how to make that relationship work and how to make those systems work with virtual assistants. Now that I've learned the ropes, and of course Sphere Rocket is invaluable in teaching the ropes, it's a much easier process, much more streamlined. Sphere Rocket is not only responsive, but you know, there's really a culture of caring about the success of the white label partners, and more importantly, the success of the clients. If the clients are not succeeding, then Sphere Rocket's not going to succeed. And obviously the success that they have had is indicative of the level of commitment they have to both their clients and the white label partners.
How you doing? My name is Dylan Raymond, or Smiling Dylan. Hashtag Realtor on the Bike. I've been in real estate the last going on 5 years. I got to a point where I was at the line. If I took 1 or 2 more clients on, that I was going to start failing in my providing quality service. I said I'm going to commit to at least a year to make this thing work. What I learned from Sphere Rocket is if the VA fails, it's not because of the VA, it's because of you. They are an executive assistant and really has given me some time back. Also, social media, bookkeeping, editing, email, calendar management, pay some bills. It's a variety of things. And she's also a forward thinker. And one of the things I encouraged earlier, if you find some gaps, hey, you know, go ahead and make a suggestion, make an idea. So she does editing, and she's come up with a couple of ideas that really help me out in the social media space. The best thing I like about my virtual assistant is her attitude. And I believe attitude determines your altitude. So the training, the tools, everything is there. And I gotta give a shout out to Brittany, because I was freaking out with all these automated emails and read this and set up that and onboard this. So that whole process, and let me tell you, for someone that was just kind of afraid to give that up, that control, that really helped me through the process.
Hi, I'm Diane Duran. My husband Bill and I own Diamond Guard Insurance. We are located in Dallas, Texas. Our first VA is a recruiter. She does everything until we're ready to talk to them face to face. We have a quality assurance person. We have a data analyst. And then our fourth VA is a lead coordinator. Recruiting. Finding people is really hard. So just having someone constantly searching the market and bringing interviews has been great. Yes, my husband will tell you when I said we don't have a need for that. All it took was listening to Justin's seminar. I had a list longer than my whole piece of paper. The hardest part is being clear on what you want and dedicating the time to help them be successful. You're just so focused on educating and helping us be successful in business. It's really about creating a community of successful business leaders. Be creative. There are so many things that can be done in an agency that don't require that license. Just be creative and think about that.
Hey, Dave Z, Leverage Agent, Dave Z Home Team, huge fan of Sphere Rocket. All right, so I've been a client of Sphere Rocket about 5 years. I have 5. I have them in a video editor, executive assistant, and then they're like client care coordinators. They basically mimic me. They respond to people as me. 2 of those, I'm down 1, so I'm technically at 4. We'll get back to 5 soon. Favorite thing about my VAs is they're actually smarter and probably more loyal than American employees that I've had in the past. So the least favorite task of mine that I've delegated is actually working inside of my CRM, following up with people, finding out who needs to be responded. And I've actually have my VAs respond on my behalf when there's things that are urgent and on the weekends. And I've got 5 kids, I travel. So as I'm speaking, there's follow-up that's happening to prospects coming from my VAs. I had a ton of limiting beliefs before I got a VA. One, I hate to say it, what if they steal my information? Like, what if they get into and hack my system and hack my bank account? How will I know that they're actually working? And what am I gonna have them do and how am I gonna train them? So what Sphere Rocket's done for me is giving me all the tools, screenshot monitor, putting them on Zoom, and then having all the training that I don't have to do, that Sphere Rocket does on my behalf for my VAs. The hardest part of having a VA is I used to run my company like a family. Like, we're going out to the bar, we're gonna hang out. I used to do annual trips to Disneyland with my employees. And so having them so far away, it's been very hard, but it's actually been the best thing for me and my family. Because I honestly used to go out and spend all this time with people, and now we've removed that. There's much more of an employer-employee relationship, but they're still family. So my favorite benefit of Sphere Rocket is the rooms that they put together. Everything is great for what they do, but I'm on a plane out here and I get to meet with great people and just get to learn from some of the best people. And I think the content that we get from Justin and the staff, it's something that's far more valuable than the fee that we pay. So being in person is by far the best part. Yeah, so my background is I ran a traditional real estate team. I had 13 agents, I had in-person staff. Everything was done all American based, all with physical locations. And once I really felt confident that I could trust an international workforce to handle all these tasks, I actually cut 600 grand of my overhead in one night. I got rid of a director of operations that was 85 grand. I got rid of an agent that was making 300 grand. I got rid of all of my admin staff, cut 2 physical office buildings. And I didn't know what was gonna happen next, but I just knew if I made 600 grand less as a business owner, I would make the same amount of money. I only made 50 grand less, kept all that money, and have been able to grow other companies since then. So it reduced my overhead substantially, gave me a ton of time back, and really changed my family's life.
My name is Danny Batsalkin. I live here in Dallas, Texas. So I'm in the real estate space. I have several companies related to real estate. I believe about 7-8 months. So I have 7 VAs. I don't listen to your advice, so I don't have an executive assistant yet, but I have 2 appointment setters. I have a marketing manager, and then I have a couple of fulfillment people for a transaction coordination company that we have called ExactTC. So they do fulfillment, and then I have a manager there as well. Just the fact that they, unlike a lot of US employees, they actually listen to instructions and try to do their best to do what you ask them to do. No, but honestly, they're fantastic. They're great people, super kind. They want to please you and do what's right for the business and the company. I think they really care about their work product. Managing my Facebook page, posts, and all the messages back and forth. Yes, in terms of speaking to clients. So, I always thought it'd be a big deal with an accent or maybe time zone or, just that clients wouldn't respond to someone else other than me talking to them. And that hasn't been the case at all. I'm just really bad about accountability and structure. So, we're big on talking about having daily huddles and checking in with people and stuff like that. And I tend to just tell people, okay, this is what I want you to do, and let's talk in a few months. And so I really have to force myself to do all of those things to make sure that, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then I'm reviewing it. And that's, of course, totally on me. Yeah, so Sphere Rocket's got this dude, Moose Reed. He's got these calls on Tuesdays. They're unbelievable. Well, I shouldn't tell him this, but I do tell him that he could charge for those calls. They're all about sales and building out your organization. And I've learned so much on those. I've had a lot of coaches over the years, but I will tell you, those calls are golden. But in addition to that, just all the benefits, client success manager, all of the coaching calls and all of the different resources and training library and all the stuff that Sphere Rocket has, I think is definitely number one best in the industry for sure. Just hire one. Don't think about any of the reasons why you shouldn't. Start with one and then grow from there and scale your business that way. It really is the best way and the most cost-effective way to scale. And then come to these masterminds. So I don't go to a lot of conferences anymore, but this mastermind has been amazing. Learned so much, met so many great people, and I've gotten to see all the people that I talked to on Zoom in person. So now I actually know how tall they are. Or how short they are in Patrick's case.
My name is Crystal. This is Sean, and we're with Everyday Properties and Events.
In Colorado Springs, we're a real estate team, and we own a home staging company.
We just enrolled about 6 months ago.
Yeah, about 6 months.
6 months. We have admin assistant and video editor.
My personal favorite is the long form video editing. We do have a Living In YouTube channel, and I hated the long form video editing, so I just make the videos and hand them off to him.
What's the channel called?
Living Local in Colorado Springs.
Probably the biggest thing was, as a realtor, you don't want to lose control of your business. And once we did that, I think once we did go through Sphere Rocket, we realized that we were holding back ourselves with so many other tasks and money driven. I think that was the biggest thing. The hardest part?
I think it's made life a lot easier, to be honest. I'd say the hardest part is not wanting to hire two more.
That's great. The community is huge. It's, small, right? But it makes you feel like you always have support no matter. When we first hired VAs, we didn't hire them the right way. And we hired from our heart. And I think that was the biggest thing, is that we had the support from Sphere Rocket to be able to help us understand what was important and what to do differently. And that led to us getting two of the best VAs that we've had.
One of the biggest things for me, at least, is that we had the actual training tools that you needed to be successful versus hiring through the third-party company or hiring on your own. It's very hard to initiate all these tools that you don't know about.
Yeah.
So to have access to the pay scale, to have access to the screenshot monitor and know that ahead of time is super beneficial.
Yeah, all of the first initial setup, being able to even work with a VA was all just handed to us, which was huge. It made a million times easier to be able to know what to do, how to do it, and what to look for, and how to be able to effectively make it work. Once you get over the fact of that you're not replacing yourself, you're just going to get back so much of your time. I think that you just have to do it. Once you do it, you'll never not want a virtual assistant. Thank you.
So my name's Chris Treese. I own a construction company and I coach other contractors in how to grow their businesses. I'm from Springfield, Missouri. I've been a client for 9 months. 1 hired, 2 in the hiring process. I have an executive assistant. We're hiring a social media manager, thanks to you. And then the other one, we're still in talks about what it's going to do, but probably an ISA. I don't like notifications. I hate that little red dot. Being able to take my email off of my phone is perfect. I've done inbox zero for a long time. Yeah, good. So I didn't. Actually, I saw you and Justin talk about at a show, and everything you said made sense. And it was at Builders of Authority with Adam McChesney. It made a lot of sense, and especially because I help contractors that are typically like under $1 million in revenue. They don't have a bunch of money to hire. So we can get them into someone for less than $1,000 a month full-time to help, which just hugely increases their bandwidth. I think for me, it was just like any other employee. It's just taking the time to train them properly. You get in what you put out. So same thing. I had helped 6 or 7 people get VAs before the white label rolled out. And so as soon as you guys announced it, I was like, it just makes sense, because I was working for another contractor coach at the time. And then I started my own thing. And that's like the #1 thing we do. Might as well make money on it while you're helping them. It's a win-win. But right now, my MRR just from you guys is like $6K. So 72,000. For me, it's stuff like this, the masterminds. I like the shows. I like hanging out with you. I like getting to meet people. I like the networking. I ended up in a 20-minute conversation with the guy who writes books.
Amazing.
And just talking about a whole bunch of cool stuff. And yeah, so that's the networking side is huge for me.
Brett Stout. I own an insurance brokerage called Texas Risk Group. Mostly commercial. We do offer personal lines. Honestly, because of VAs, we are getting back into personal lines insurance. 6 months. One, executive assistant. I think after this, I'll probably get another one. The responsiveness. I could message in the morning, at night, in the middle of the night. I'll get a message back pretty fast, but the amount of time I have back on my hands is insane. I just went to Florida. I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 20-month-old kid. I was working only 2 hours a day just because I was calling to sell clients. Other than that, she handled everything. She would quote business, email, answer text messages, anything that would run my business other than obviously calling and selling to a client. She's doing it all. So they are allowed, if I have the information, like say if she has access to my email, a client said, hey, I bought property 123 Dallas, Texas. She'll take all the details, go into the system, can log into the system, quote it out. She won't be able to call them and sell it, but I'll have to go and do that stuff. That's what I was talking about, 2 hours a day. I'll call the clients, hey, this is what it is for the year, blah, blah, blah. And that's it. I'm independent.
You're independent.
So I don't have, like I've heard people here say they have Allstate and stuff like that. And Allstate won't let them log in or do this or do that. I don't really have those restrictions. I mean, like I have access to write Allstate, but there's a lot better options. Especially, we focus primarily on commercial, but her taking so much of it off my plate, I've been able to go get a lot more personal lines insurance, which she can quote out 2 or 3 people a day. That makes us around $750 a pop. And if we're selling 3 of those a day,
That's awesome.
which is just easy money. That will stay on the books. It's the commercial stuff that takes a little more. That's a lie. $6 an hour. Yeah. Robert Kramer I'd said no for months. And I was like, I don't need one. I need to get to a certain amount of money a month. And then he was like, dude, just do it. And I think I did the free. He was like, it's free for 30 days or something like that. And after that, I was like, take my money.
Great. Who is your CSM?
Summer?
Summer?
Yeah.
No, who is your free trial CSM?
Michelle.
Michelle?
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool.
Just walked me through here. She was like, not a whole lot of people have done insurance, but with trial and error, we'll figure it out. And I was like, she just made sure, she's like, this name may not be your only VA. You may run through a few, which I did. My first one was only there for a week. And she took another job and I was like, oh shit, this is what I thought. And then within another week, I'd had somebody else, and it's the same girl. So I've had her for 5 months, roughly. And it's been great. Just to do it. I mean, what else? There's no other option. Like I'm here. For me, because leads come in sporadically, I'll get 10 one day, none one day, all different hours. So sometimes I'm handling, sometimes her. It's me, after being here, getting the SOPs in place that says, hey, and giving her a little more leeway, access to my email and stuff like that says, hey, you don't need me to tell you what to do. You just need to knock these out. I think that's my deal. It's kind of letting go of the reins. Going back into the files and all the data in there. Don't do it, I didn't wait. Don't second guess yourself. I mean, literally like on the high end, I mean, some people pay $3, $4, $5. I'm paying $6. What's $40? Like you can't run through McDonald's for that.
My name is Amanda Kaufman, and I'm the founder of the Coaches Plaza, and I help great coaches become great entrepreneurs. I've been a client for just under a year. I have 2, but I actually brought one in with me, and then Sphere Rocket helped me find my current VA. I have a client success assistant, and then I have an executive assistant. My favorite thing about my executive assistants is they are so on it. Like if I ask for something, they are responding to me sometimes inside of 30 seconds, just yep, on it, gonna figure it out. And they're so proactive as well. So I'll say, here's the goal, this is what good kind of looks like, and then they'll just flesh it out. It's just awesome. Well, I'm a coach and a trainer, so I actually did the client success virtual assistant first because I hate handling recordings and uploading things and downloading things and just all of that. What a pain. So I got rid of that. And then for the second VA, I delegated my email and my calendar, which was life-changing. My limiting beliefs were mainly trust issues, so I had concerns about whether I could trust somebody, really anybody, not just virtual assistants, but anybody to come in and handle my email, which is, it turns out, that's not such a big deal. And I think I just had lots of trust issues about like, are they going to follow through? Are they going to do that? And honestly, they can be more accountable to timelines than even I am. The hardest part is that you do have to think more proactively about your time, because I think I got a virtual assistant at first thinking, oh yay, it's just going to free up all my time. And it's going to free up time or do things with time you should have been doing, but you also need to have time to, connect, communicate, review what is going on. So it will leverage your time, not eliminate time, if that makes sense. I have two favorite things. The first is the coaching that they offer, specifically the sales coaching.
All right.
Yeah. I think specifically because as I'm building my business, I can see from that coaching at Sphere Rocket specifically, where I was building things out of sequence, like out of order, and that it was causing all the friction for the results that I was wanting to get. So that was like outstanding. And then the second favorite thing outside of the staffing and placement, which is amazing, is the in-person masterminds. I just came to my very first one and it was so worth the time. Absolutely awesome.